When you think of iconic skylines, what comes to mind? A signature style, a unified theme? If so, then Chicago might surprise you. See, on one side you have this beautiful, perfect unison lake, right? Blue colors, mixes with the sky.
Just switch over. See, no unity whatsoever. A circular building here. A tall, blocky, weird window building here. Just a tall, white building here. A glass building here. All of that facing all of this.
Chicago is a city built on innovation, rising from the ashes of the Great Fire to become a hub for architectural experimentation. From the world's first skyscrapers to cutting-edge modern structures, Chicago has always been a canvas for bold ideas. Yet, as you wander through its streets, you'll find that there's no single story being told by its buildings, no one style that defines its skyline. After the Great Fire of 1871, which burned down over 3 square miles of Chicago, the city's leaders saw an opportunity to create something greater. Enter Daniel Burnham, whose visionary plan of Chicago in 1909 proposed wide boulevards, sprawling parks, and a cohesive architectural style inspired by European cities. Burnham's plan sought to bring order and beauty to the city, but it wasn't without its critics. Some felt it prioritized aesthetics over practicality and excluded Chicago's working-class neighborhoods. While the plan wasn't fully realized, it shaped the city's infrastructure and set the stage for Chicago's future as an architectural playground. While Burnham's vision for a unified Chicago wasn't fully realized, it sparked a lasting dialogue among architects. The desire to shape Chicago into something monumental continued, but architects didn't always agree on what that meant. The decades that followed saw a dynamic back and forth, a conversation in steel and stone, where each building responded to the last. Sometimes following Burnham's classical ideals, sometimes breaking away from them entirely. See, early on, architects like Louis Sullivan led Chicago's school with designs that combined functionality with a sense of ornamentation and grandeur. But by the mid-20th century, Mies van der Rohe brought modernist ideals to Chicago, championing a less is more philosophy that left behind Burnham's classical touches. The shift gave rise to minimalist structures like the IBM building, which followed a purer form-function approach. But as years went by, Chicago's skyline continued to evolve, and architects began pushing back against strict modernism. Buildings like the Harold Washington Library embraced postmodernism, reintroducing classical elements, but with a contemporary twist, while others, like Aqua Tower, pointed toward the future, with designs focused on sustainability and organic forms.
As the city evolved, some buildings became iconic not just for their beauty or height, but the conversations they sparked. Take, for example, the Tribune Tower, a neo-Gothic building neighbored by the little sliver that you can see there, the IBM building. 2 neighboring buildings, yet worlds apart.
These structures speak to Chicago's willingness to embrace the past while forging ahead into the future. Then, there's the John Hancock Center and the Sears Tower. Completed in 1969, the Hancock Center's bold X-bracing made it an engineering marvel, and its mixed-use design blending residential and commercial spaces. Just a few years later, the Sears Tower soared to new heights, becoming the tallest building in the world. Its stacked block design is a testament to Chicago's ambition, challenging architects to think bigger and bolder.
In Chicago, the age of the building isn't always what it seems. Take, for example, 2 Prudential Tower. Built almost 2 decades, almost 20 years after the IBM building, yet this kind of looks older.
Takes on a more traditional, ornamental style, embracing postmodernism's historic references and a decorative touches. Chicago's skyline is more than just steel and stone. It's a story written by architects across decades. Each structure is a response to the one before. In a world where cities often seek a single, unified identity, Chicago stands apart. Here, buildings don't just coexist. They converse, argue, and inspire. They remind us that beauty doesn't have to be singular. It can be diverse, layered, and complex as the city itself. So, as you walk through these streets, look up. Ask yourself, what story is being told here? And perhaps, what story would you add?